Hanse. Good evening. I'm Chris Nachkate. Welcome to APTN National News. In Manitoba, there is another ongoing wave of wildfires that is forcing some to evacuate their homes for a second time. As of Monday, Lynn Lake, Wallace Lake, Marcel Colombe First Nation, Matthias Colombe Cree Nation, the Tasqueyac Cree Nation, and areas of Nopaming Provincial Park are all under evacuation orders. The town of Leaf Rapids is also issuing an evacuation notice for tomorrow morning. With more on this, here's APTN's Sierra Bettens.
After a stretch of hot weather and thunderstorms, there are now 81 active wildfires in Manitoba, placing 6 communities under evacuation orders. On Monday, the province provided an update.
We've had a lot of lightning go through the province. When numbers were really escalating, we were seeing over 25 new fires every 24-hour period popping up.
Residents of Lynn Lake and Marcel Colombe First Nation are being forced to leave their homes a second time. On Friday, fires reportedly destroyed 7 homes in Tasqueyac Cree Nation, where residents remain evacuated.
The 20-year average for this date is 187, and we are at 235. So we're definitely above average for the number of fires we've had so far this year.
In a Saturday press release, Manitoba Kiwetinowi Ogamaganik Inc. said up to 150 residents in the Opipinapawan Cree Nation have been medically evacuated. In a Sunday Facebook post, Pimachikamak Cree Nation Chief David Monias said they've organized evacuations for Priority 1 residents, which include elders, people with medical conditions, and families with young children.
The Red Cross told us that they confirmed 60 rooms yesterday and 60 rooms today that are secured for evacuees. But they're prioritizing larger families, and certain families can stay together who are P1. So if you have a P1 in your family and you're being sent out, then you can take your children.
The province is now monitoring 16 fires that could impact communities, and 6,600 Manitobans have been evacuated. Sierra Bettens, APTN National News, Winnipeg.
Gary McLean passed away 6 years ago, but his legacy lives on through the Indian Day School Fund named after him. In Ottawa on Monday, the Fund's board announced the launch of $200 million aimed at providing benefits to day school survivors. APTN's Fraser Needham has that story.
Claudette Commanda is the CEO of the McLean Day School Settlement Corporation, or MDSSC. She says the launch of the Legacy Fund has been a long time coming, but board members wanted to ensure it was done properly.
It was important for us as the McLean's Day School Board. It was important for us to take our time to do this right, to do it in a good way. And we were a firm believer in ensuring that the vision and the legacy of Gary McLean was all about justice and the survivors' voices.
The fund will provide 4 streams of funding targeted at survivor communities. These include up to $250,000 per year for 4 years for healing and wellness, up to $100,000 per year for 4 years for language and culture, a one-time payment of $100,000 spread over 4 years for commemoration, a one-time payment of $100,000 spread over 4 years for truth-telling. Each community is also eligible for a one-time payment of $25,000 to set up survivor committees. MDSSC board member Gloria Wells says it is important communities will be able to determine how funding is spent.
Because government have put out a lot of programs for everybody to try and get that self-help and healing, but it has not worked for our people. We need to come from our own, who we are, and that's why I strongly believe that ceremony and our language and our culture will be the ones to help us.
Roger Augustine is also on the board of the Legacy Fund. He says Gary McLean is never too far from his thoughts.
And whenever I feel that, I got moved on, I'll look at the crowd like this and he'd be sitting there waving, right? And I'm sure most of you could see that. The smiling face, the friendly face, a good person, a good man, and we lost him.
Commanda adds McLean may be gone, but he is definitely not forgotten.
Very, He was such a loving human being. Very loving, heart and soul. He was very knowledgeable. He really deeply cared for survivors, cared for all the communities right across Canada.
Communities can apply for funding from July 7th to the end of September 2025. Fraser Needham, APTN National News, Ottawa.
Dozens of members of the Inuit community celebrated Nunavut Day early on Sunday with traditional throat singing, food, and Inuktitut language games. The event was a memorable hit. APTN's Chris Stewart brings us this report.
For about 10 years, Guta Demaray has been coordinating Nunavut Day celebrations in Edmonton. And at Rundle Park on Sunday, that tradition continued. Cooler temperatures and rain kept some people away, but the 36 or so people here certainly enjoyed themselves. Guta says it's vital to stay connected.
In the Arctic, it's a very small community, and on a daily basis, you're connecting with friends and family. But when you live in the city, it's such a big city, and so it's so important for our community to come together, to have celebration like Nunavut Day, so we can speak our language. We can do, some of our cultures and traditions.
Traditional foods like seal, Arctic char, and narwhal were on the menu. Elder Minnie celebrated her 86th birthday.
Happy birthday to you!
Guta was giving prizes to people who knew Inuktitut words.
If you know what Nazapi means, if you come and see me first, you get a prize. And it's nice to be able to share the Inuktitut language for the urban Inuit, maybe that didn't have a chance to learn Inuktitut, because when you live in the city, it's hard to learn Inuktitut. So we have these events, as you can see today, building our vocabulary, playing little games, and in hopes that their vocabulary grows so our language continues.
I just would like to say hi to everyone. Nunavut, I miss you guys. You are loved. We're all loved.
Janet has been living in Edmonton for 3 years. She moved from Nunavut because housing was too hard to find.
Having events like this just fills that void a little bit, and I get to connect with people that I know and new people that I've met today. So it means more than words can say.
Chris Stewart, APTN National News, Edmonton.
We're always looking for your feedback or story ideas. Here's how you can continue the conversation with us. If you have a story you want to share, send us an email to news@aptn.ca. And to read and watch our stories, go to www.aptnnews.ca. And you can also find us online on your favorite social media sites, including TikTok, LinkedIn, and X. And you can watch this newscast anywhere, anytime on YouTube. Follow APTN News to join the conversation and see our latest stories. It has been more than a month since Michelle Ahenecue went missing from Big River First Nation in northern Saskatchewan. We'll speak with her daughters about her disappearance after the break. Welcome back. Since June 5th, 40-year-old Michelle Ahenekew has been missing. She was last seen in Big River First Nation in northern Saskatchewan and last in contact with family the day before. For weeks, the Ahenekew family have been searching for their loved one, and RCMP Major Crimes has now said that Ahenekew's disappearance is suspicious in nature. RCMP say Ahenekew is known to frequent Saskatoon, her home reserve of Atakakoop Cree Nation, and Shell Lake, and they are asking the public's help in finding her. We recently spoke to Michelle's daughters about their mom's disappearance. Here's that interview. Aisha and Lakeisha Ahenekew, thank you for speaking with us, and I'm very sorry that your mom Michelle is still missing. Can you explain when your mom went missing and the circumstances around her disappearance?
Well, my mom went missing on June 5th. She had made plans with one of her friends that day and never showed up. The last time she spoke to family was on June 4th, and we haven't heard from her from June 5th. And my sister and I were currently, in the fall, we'll be third-year ITEP students at the University of Saskatchewan, and this completely has just shaken our world. I don't even know how to go back to sorry.
Yeah, I know it really kind of put a pause on everything that you're doing in life right now and trying to look for your mom. RCMP Major Crimes has now considered your mom's disappearance as suspicious. Is there anything that you are able to say about the investigation and why RCMP have said this?
We began our search on June 14th, and as we were searching around Big River First Nation, my grandfather and I went to her last known location, and we found evidence such as a wad of hair, and I feel like my grandfather finding that hair is really he shouldn't have been the one to find that hair, and I've seen it, and I know my mother's hair, and that we are waiting back from the labs. They told us that it would take 90 days. So that was on June 14th, and I'm not too sure when 90 days would be, but I feel like that's such a long time to wait. And I know that was her hair because I seen it. She had a very distinct color of hair, and I feel like we know that it's her hair, but we're waiting for confirmation from the labs.
Yeah.
So I think that's why they ruled the case as suspicious in nature, is just because of what we found.
You talked about it a bit there, but can you talk about some of the recent searches that have been done for your mom? Where have people searched and why in these locations?
We began our search on June 14th, and we have been searching around Big River First Nation, but we cannot really say exactly where we searched because of we don't want to let any information that we have out just in case, we don't know the circumstances of it all right now. It's all just new to us, and we don't want to,
compromise the investigation, hey?
Exactly. Correct. Yeah. But I do, we've had so much help from everybody in the community and our surrounding communities, and I just wanted to say thank you to everybody for coming and helping us. We can't do it alone, So having that community and seeing everybody there honestly strengthens us and motivates us to keep going. They have been such a support, and I feel like without them, I did not know where we would be today. It's an immense amount of support we have received from everybody.
That's very good to hear. I know when, a lot of our families in our Indigenous communities are struggling, everybody pulls in and helps. Is the Ahenekew family in need of more resources to help with future searches? And if so, what is your message to tribal councils and the public?
Well, any and all help is greatly appreciated. We're not giving up searching. We're taking today we're taking a break, and we're just trying to, try focus on the lives that we do have, because life does go on, you know, and everyone else has their lives. So we just want to give all of our searchers a nice break, and we want to, you know, process all of this, and we want to head back out definitely soon, because we're not giving up. We're going to find her and we're going to bring her home.
And finally, Aisha and Lakeisha, can you tell us about your mom and what kind of person she is?
She is such a fiery person. She has such a great and genuine personality. Her humor was amazing. She had no filter. She wasn't shy to say anything. She'd always light up her room. And yeah, you just really had to know her to love her. And she is really missed. And everywhere I look, I see her. And it's definitely, this is the hardest thing we've ever had to deal with.
Regardless of whatever happened to her, we feel her with us every day, and we love her.
Yeah, and I know that if she was okay somewhere, she wouldn't do this to us. And we've been getting messages, I know, from concerned people saying that they might have seen her. And I don't know, like how, I don't know if I believe it, because I know what I seen, and I know her. And I know that she would never do this to us. And I just wanted to say one more thing, that this issue of missing and murdered Indigenous women and girls and people is like a really big issue in Canada. Every time you go on Facebook or you watch the news, there's something like it. And it needs to stop. We need to stop letting people hurt our women. You know, like this. I want what happened to my mom to help others. I don't want anyone else to feel this way. I wouldn't wish it upon my worst enemy. And I just want to make a difference for the next family.
Aisha and Lakeisha Henekyu, we'll have to leave it there. Thank you for your time, and we'll be thinking about you and your family.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for your support.
Yes, thank you. Thank you all.
And you can read more about Michelle Henekyu's disappearance by going to our website at aptnnews.ca. We have more stories after the break. Stay with us. Thanks for staying with us. Time now for our photo of the day. Fran Etzel tells us this is the best view from the shorelines of Rose Lake, located in the central region of the southern Yukon Territory. Thanks for sharing that picture with us, Fran. If you have a picture to share, send it to share@aptn.ca for the chance to be our next photo of the day. Now let's take a look at tomorrow's weather forecast. On the east coast, Charlottetown 23 and rain, Halifax 24. Cartwright 17, Happy Valley Goose Bay 22 and rain. 25 in Quebec City, Montreal 26 and rain. 28 in London, Toronto 29. 24 in Elliott Lake, Sioux Lookout 23 and rain there. Churchill 20, Puckatawagan 22. 28 in Gimli, Dauphin 27. Sunny in Regina at 26, Estevan 26. 25 in Meadow Lake, La Ronge 24. 24 in Fort McMurray, Peace River 25. 31 in Medicine Hat and sunny there, Edmonton 26. Tofino 22, Victoria 26. 16 in Sand Spit, Prince George 25. 21 in Watson Lake, Beaver Creek 18 and rain. 24 in Fort Simpson, 25 in Norman Wells. 18 in Fort McPherson, Paulatuck 14. 18 in Baker Lake, Cambridge Bay 9. And Arctic Bay 6, Aglulik 7 in rain. Over the weekend, the annual U18 Indigenous Cup in football wrapped up in Winnipeg, and after a tight match against Alberta, Team Manitoba claimed victory on their home turf. The tournament brought the nation's top Indigenous football talent from Alberta, Saskatchewan, Manitoba, and Northwestern Ontario to Winnipeg from June 30th to July 6th. Day one saw Alberta winning 62-7 against Northwestern Ontario and Manitoba winning 42-6 against Saskatchewan. On Sunday, Team Saskatchewan claimed the bronze medal after a 49-0 win against Northwestern Ontario. And in the championship game, Team Manitoba scored a gold medal victory, defeating Alberta 42-34. Congratulations to all of the winners. A Northern Youth Leadership and Yellowknife nonprofit partnered with NASA for the second year in a row to organize a week-long canoe trip, blending traditional and practical practices in modern science to combat environmental issues like climate change. APTN video journalist Bruce Dela Cruz has more.
They were very fun and they supported me by blank, blank, blank.
Staff from Northern Youth Leadership, known as NYL, read through camper surveys from their latest On the Land project. Titled The Protecting Our Lands Camp, youth aged 11 to 16 from the Northwest Territories canoed during the last week of June on Canada's largest river, the Mackenzie, known as the Decho River in the Dene language. Starting from Fort Providence, Northwest Territories, and canoeing to Jean Marie River, the campers put in over 350 kilometers by the end of the trip. Researchers from NASA and Indigenous land guardians from Liliquay First Nation accompanied the group and held workshops to educate the youth on environmental monitoring in the Northwest Territories. Gabriel Brost, a Tlicho youth staff member and former camper, explains why the canoe trip's emphasis on environmental stewardship is important.
That's one thing I love about these camps is that when we go out on the land, when they are disconnected from social media and everything, is that they get to see the impacts and the changes that are occurring every day without even realizing it. And our NASA connection is very important because we get to see what they research as well and what impacts have been changing what they see as well.
Steph Woodworth, NYL's project director, also emphasizes how traditional practices and modern science go hand in hand to effectively combat environmental issues like climate change.
The late Tarek Leahy Chico once told me that his community understands what's happening to the land and they see it in real time, but the research can help explain why it's happening to the land. So I think by Indigenous knowledge systems coming together with Western science really creates a whole picture of what's happening to the land and why it's happening, and to find strategies and solutions to protect it.
As part of NYL's mission statement, Steph shares their opinion on why youth leadership begins on the land for some people.
I do think it starts on the land, because a lot of youth don't get the opportunity to go out on the land and to learn their culture, learn the local knowledge of the area, and get to experience what it is to do these types of trips. And by pushing yourself out of your comfort zone and living in these communities like on the land together, it really helps foster that positive change for youth. And I know like we get to see it in real time.
This was the second collaboration between NASA and Northern Youth Leadership, the first being a canoe trip to Hidden Lake Territorial Park in the summer of 2024. To stay up to date on NYL's events, be sure to check out their website at northernyouth.ca. Bruce De La Cruz, APTN National News, Yellowknife.
Looked like a very fun trip. Thanks for that story, Bruce. And that's your evening newscast for this Monday, July 7th. We're back again for your daytime newscast tomorrow. Please join us then. From all of us at APTN National News, Masicho Kwana Miigwech, thank you for joining us, and we'll see you again next day.